Good evening, it's Liam Neild here with your MU review for the Manchester Derby contested over the weekend. It's a bit of a dull, cloudy grey day here in Boone, which matches up pretty well with the match I'm about to describe to you all. It was a very tense, uneventful. I think the first shot on target came in the 82nd minute, something like that. And it was a very tense, uneventful derby, and a bit of a disappointment for everybody who was a neutral watching it. Obviously, being a Manchester United fan, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, but that was more out of nerves and occasional frustration than anything. Just, the broad strokes, I was quite pleased with the way that we played. I thought we played quite well. Obviously, we were lacking that finishing touch, and I think that was in no small part to the fact that Vincent Kompany returned to the Manchester City defence this week to kind of straighten them out. But, the more and more I think about the game, the more of a bad taste it leaves in my mouth, because I think about how City were just there for the taking. They really didn't show much attacking impetus throughout the game. We seemed to have the game under control, and had we been a bit more clinical, we would have walked away with the 3 points. But just to get you through for the review here, blow by blow, more or less. I thought we started very confidently, showed a lot more desire than Man City did. It was a very encouraging start from the Red Devils against Manchester City. Obviously, the atmosphere was rocking for the Manchester Derby at Old Trafford. A bit of a shame that 76,000 people who paid, upwards of 40 quid for a ticket got treated to that, dire display in the first half especially. But United, if you're looking at it from a pure footballing perspective, I think United really did have the better of it for 90 minutes, and we showed that from the very beginning. Man City were put on the back foot, and that really set the tone for the entire game. Obviously, we weren't able to actually penetrate through and get the goal or really create any clear-cut chances, but we controlled the ball. We controlled most of the attacking play, with the occasional City counter-attack, and we seemed to have most of their star players, the ones that were on the pitch at least, under control for most of the game. Rojo had a fantastic game, and he's one of those players who's come under a bit of scrutiny since Luke Shaw's injury, because he's been played at left back and he's not really settled into the United defence in his first, one and a bit seasons here at Old Trafford. So it was very good to see him sort of really own that left back role. I thought he had Kevin De Bruyne in his pocket all afternoon, and that isn't an easy thing to do. I don't think any of the big players on our team or on their team had the space to work. I think that was why the derby ended up being such a tight-knit 0-0 in the end, is just because no team was conceding any space to the opposition. Least of all us, we were pressing them. Every time they did get the ball, we were all over them. And I thought Rojo had an excellent game, containing the threat of Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously, Wilfried Bony, Wilfried he was barely on the pitch for most of the game, and Chris Smalling didn't have any trouble dealing with him. It was a solid performance from our back four. I thought obviously De Gea is always outstanding, but seeing Jones and Rojo return to the side, and obviously Valencia started the game before getting injured and having to come off. But seeing that sort of partnership between Jones and Smalling that Ferguson was really setting up before he went on and retired, I'm seeing that kind of begin to flourish at long last is very encouraging for us United fans, and hopefully, as an England fan as well, hopefully they can translate that into becoming a regular partnership at international level as well as club level. But the defensive performance was good, but I really thought that City were absolutely toothless without Aguero and David Silva. I thought they lacked all sense of desire and motivation and sort of forward thinking, and I think Pellegrini addressed that in the post-match. He said that they sort of had to adapt to the way the game was going as it went along. They sort of they put Demichelis on for Yaya Toure. Is there a more negative substitution you can make in football than that? He really was sort of hunkering down for the 0-0 as soon as he realised that his players just weren't up for it, and that if they weren't careful, they were going to lose the match. And that was not an option for Man City in this game. So from their perspective, they walked away with a point, and they're quite happy with that. United are the ones who are left frustrated. And although we did play better than the opposition, obviously, Anthony Martial being our, key figure in the game, it was very difficult for any of these star players to sort of shine at all with the amount of space that was being allowed them by the defenders on both sides. But Anthony Martial really did sparkle, as he has been so consistently since he moved from Monaco. He's really looking like a great player in the making. And Jesse Lingard came on for Juan Mata, on the hour mark, and I thought he had another outstanding performance. His link-up with Martial very nearly cracked open that City defence. It was a lovely little flick that he had with the outside of his foot, and Joe Hart, he was beaten. I mean, if it was an inch lower, that was a goal, and it would have been a dream goal for Jesse Lingard, but he was very unlucky. And then, obviously, as the game wound down, it became more evident that Man City weren't going to, go forward. So we chucked Fellaini on, and Fellaini very nearly did his job. He got the ball from the long diagonal, headed it down, and Chris Smalling with a really good strike, on the volley there. And it should, and if it wasn't for the excellent goalkeeping of Joe Hart, then that would have been the game winner in the 89th minute. So we definitely had the chances to win the game. But all in all, I can't be too upset. We weren't beaten, and to be honest, before the game, I was expecting City to play a lot better. But before the game, if you'd given me a draw, I would have considered taking it. Having watched the game, though, I would have been very irritated to find out that we didn't get a goal. But like I said, in no small part was that to Vincent Kompany coming back to Manchester City's defence. It is night and day the difference between the back four with him in it and with him not in it. And I thought he really made a massive, massive difference for Man City in that area, and ultimately earned them the point that they may or may not have deserved. But ultimately, that's the way football goes. There's not really too much else to say. I usually ramble on for 10 plus minutes on these games, but there really wasn't much going on. I was very highly strung and tense throughout the game, as I always am. I've got lots of negative flashbacks associated with playing Man City at Old Trafford at this time of year. So seeing us control the game and seeing us prove that yeah, City weren't full strength, but they're not going to come here and put us back where we belong. Put us back where we belong, as some of their fans were suggesting they would do before the game. So it was good to see, to kind of reassure us that we are heading in the right direction, and that we are, genuine title challengers. I think we needed the win to really cement ourselves as title challengers. But we're in the top three. We're 2 points off Arsenal and City, and if you look at teams like Chelsea, who are defending champions, I think we're doing much, much better than them. We're way better off than they are. My man of the match is Anthony Martial. Like I said, he was the only one who really looked like he was going to create anything during the game, so I'll give the nod to him. I thought he was unlucky not to provide, a worldie of an assist for Jesse Lingard late on in the game. He really pulled that out of absolutely nowhere, and he does look like he is going to be a huge, huge player for us. I say for the future, but right now he's looking like a huge player for us. So good job to Anthony Martial. Still a little disappointed that we didn't get the victory, but the good thing about football, especially at this time of year, is that there's always another game around the corner. We've got a Capital One Cup fixture coming up on Wednesday against Middlesbrough. I'm looking forward to that. Matt has a real soft spot for Middlesbrough, so obviously he will be supporting the Red Devils, but I think he will go into that game, very much. I wouldn't say on the fence, but I think I don't think he will be as invested on one side as I am. Hopefully we can get him on board to do that review. If not, it will just be me here again talking to the camera. But if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. If you enjoyed the video, please like and share and do all that nonsense. I don't really feel like I should I feel like me having to say that sort of lessens the impact that would have. So you know what, from now on I'm just not going to say it, and if you are so inclined to do it, it will be a nice surprise. Obviously I'm hoping that we can get a few people watching them, but ultimately I do these reviews because I need to say some things, not because they need to be listened to by the masses. So with that being said, come on United. Hopefully this is just the jumping off point for a really good season, and I'm looking forward to playing City again, because if they play like that, we're going to take them down. And until next time, this has been your MU review, and I'll see you later.